Welcome, good evening. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Super excited to show you tonight some really important things. How do we make a decision? What influences the choices that are in front of us when we see our client? And we're going to go through that entire thing, but I could not do this alone tonight because we're going to do something else. Not only walk through how we map a hairstyle, how we avoid having to do 1.5 haircuts or 2 haircuts on one person, but also we're going to demonstrate tonight a really gorgeous hairstyle that I think you will enjoy because it's so versatile. But I'm also going to bring in the fabulous lady, Lindsay Sneed, who is going to join me. And what we're going to do, I'm going to do the haircut with a razor, and Lindsay is going to do exactly the same haircut with scissors. So with that, she's backstage. Welcome, Lindsay.
Hi.
We've got something in common. We've got the same mannequin. So this is interesting. We both have the same mannequin, and it's going to be super exciting. So I'm just so thrilled to have you with me tonight, Lindsay. Lindsay's just been doing some incredible work. Last night, she was doing a cool fashion show with Aveda, which sounds like amazing. She just got published and had a beautiful front cover with some of her work. So there's some serious bragging rights. She's got an illustrious career. And what's your official title in the salon, Lindsay?
Salon coach.
Salon coach. So she works for Douglas J. Awesome company. Let's give it up for Douglas J. And yay. And so I'm sure we've got even some young kids here tonight who are part of the Douglas J. Aveda Institute, which is kind of cool. I hope that they are. So in the comments, please just write away and let us know that you're here. We give more when we get a response. Okay, just picture this. Husband, wife's come home. That is a door now, and you're passionate about your day, and they're like, and then eventually you go like that too. So the more you can share with us tonight, the better. So in the comments, please let us know where you're watching in from. Hi, Zoe. Thank you for writing in. Tell us what you're keen to learn tonight. This is about you engaging and asking some questions. So first of all, I want to bring in what we're not doing tonight. Before I show you what we are doing tonight. So what we're going to do tonight, we're not doing tonight, this is a really cute little shaggy haircut, right? She's got lots of texture. She clearly can't see where she's going. Her eyelashes are not holding her hair out of her eyes. But this is a lovely round, lovely textured little haircut. Lots and lots of texture and lots of movement, right? Really pretty. So this is a lovely layered haircut, but what we are going to do tonight is this. And I wanted to show you the contrast because this particular hairstyle is very soft, very shattered, and very, very wispy. So the first thing I will do, always do it, I say to the client, I'm taking your hair away from your face because I need to be able to study your face shape. That is my first connection and engagement. I'm studying the face shape. If I need to, and I need to educate the client, I'm going to say the balance is to create perfect proportion. 1, 2, 3, and the neck being the 4th. I look for where the oval is within the face. So for example, if it's a round face, I have to stretch it to make it oval. If it's a narrow face, I have to widen it to make it oval. If it's a face with volume at the jawline, I have to reduce the jawline and make the hair fuller on the top because I take my pear into sometimes an apple, never a banana, hopefully oval, right? So what we're both going to do together, we're going to mirror each other. It's simple, Simon says. So the first thing we're going to do is get the hair out of the way. And first of all, we're going to put our hand across the forehead. So with a hand across the forehead, we can see what was happening to the face shape. Now we're going to do fluttery fingers and see what happens with this around the face shape. Now let's just go back for a moment. Heavier, softer. Now we're going to look at what happens with the center parting if we lift the top here Can we lengthen from the chin to the top of the head? Yes, we can. Go back to here. Squarer and rounder. Here, lifted. Now we can look through here. What is it like this way? No one's face is symmetrical. What is it like this way? So obviously, when there is hair there, you can do it with the hair, but this is a frame. And this is basically closing and opening the face, just like the hair opens and closes the face. The next thing we will be doing, but Lindsay and I have done nothing to these mannequins other than shampoo them. So you can see they're quite long. So when I'm looking at length, I'm going to be going, right, well, what would happen if I brought the hair into this length here? What happens to the face? Now I'm going to look at what happens if I bring it through here. Now I'm going to look at what happens when I bring it through here. And what happens if I open? What happens if I close? And I start to slowly walk around, and I'm telling the client, I'm just studying your face to look at where the oval is. I look at what happens if I lift on the top and I stretch from the crown. And that's basically how I go through the process. So obviously in our training, hi Joni, good to see you in the house. Good Karine to see you here. Keon, lovely to see you too. So obviously when I'm doing this, I take more time than I'm doing now. I just want to kind of dive into that really quickly. So the next thing I need to do is map my haircut. So I'm going to, first of all, Lindsay and I are going to do exactly the same. We're going to do a perimeter sectioning, which is nothing more than a halo shape all the way around this hairstyle. And I'm going to make sure that I don't make it too thick in the front. And I'm going to come across the ear, back of the ear, and I'm going to come into my center back. And I'm just going to be looking at how I can create my perimeter shape. And before I dive into that perimeter shape and actually do the haircut, what I do want to do is make sure that I have my goal post. Now, this is something that is so important to understand. We have a goal with every single client to obviously give them a hairstyle that's highly flattering to their face shape, to their body type, to their hair texture, age, their personality, their lifestyle. All of those things are very important. We're designing from the inside of the head to the outside of the head. And when we're designing, we've got a lot of things to consider. And it's very easy to get sucked into the clock, and the clock dictate what we're doing. And then at the end, either be running late or taking a shortcut and be disappointed with what we're doing. So I always say, slow down in the beginning, have a really good plan, and then work the plan. So I don't even know if my parting center, it's a bit dodgy, but there she is right now. So after I have worked around the face and I'm looking at the length, the next thing for me to do is stand my client up, turn her away from the mirror, and look at her body type to determine the length, clearly, and whether the length should be in a square shape, whether it should be in a round shape. How round should that shape be? How solid and how soft. So for me to try and illustrate something here, let's see if I can do this. If I want to pretend that this is a square back, let me see if I can do it with a clip. Let's see if I can fake it for you. It was a little bit of a weird fake. But if I was going to do a square back, let me use my hands, a square back. If this lady is boxy in her body, if this lady is an apple, which is volume around the middle of the torso, if this lady has a pear body type, wide hips, I just made her body type wider than it truly is because I put a box, and that's really dangerous. So you can imagine if the client, we bring her back here, if the client is really coming out full like this and she's got a box there, really dangerous. So if I'm going to do something that has roundness to it, I create some elongation in the torso because I'm elongating through here and I can still give her length. So the hardest thing, hi Michael, good to have you in the house. Hi Nicole, good to have you too. Karine, welcome. So that is to me so very important because I have felt miserable when a client has got up and I watch her walk away and I go, too short. And I feel sick. And it can, if in the good old days, it could impact my entire day because I would be so disappointed in myself. And then that energy does transfer onto other people who don't deserve it. So if you care, then when it goes wrong, you care even more and it can be really painful. So I'm very sensitive to making sure my hairstyle balances. Now you may be thinking, well, where did you learn that, Viv? I learned it in a photographic studio. I'll be working in the backstage area, so to speak, working on the model, sometimes taking way too long and taking over too much time from the set, from the shoot. The model would get up, get her fashion on, go out onto set, and I would then go, oh no, her head looks so tiny. Well, the head, and the photographer was saying, this doesn't work. Well, what the heck does that mean? This does not work. And I'm looking at it thinking, it doesn't work because either the head was too tiny, it was disproportionate, and then I've had photographers come and pull the hair apart, or the fashion stylist, or the makeup artist, they all get their hands in there. And meanwhile, almost crying, thinking my masterpiece is being destroyed before my very eyes. That was good, wasn't it? And they were right. I was so close to my work, I lost the big picture. So technical, I didn't let the creativity of the big picture happen. So that's a very important part of what we're going to talk about tonight. So we've got our little McGill sectioned off. But so before we do this, as I said, Lindsay's using scissors and I'm going to use my razor, but I'm actually going to use my razor for focal points. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to give a length here with this hair, where this hair is going to move. So what I'd like you to do, Lindsay, just for a moment, is just separate the fringe area because we actually want to do a perimeter length first and then aim to it. So obviously this is going to take a little longer because I'm explaining it and going through the details. And let's see. Oh, Golden saying, I just got out of class today. Was my very first day of Cosmo School in the Hair Arts Institute, Vidal Sassoon Connect School. Congratulations. Well, welcome to the crazy family. I love it. All right, so what we're going to do, now I'm just going to go to full screen for a moment while Lindsay's organizing there. So if I am looking at my work like this, I just got rid of the fringe for a moment, but if I'm coming in and I'm looking this way at where I'm going to be putting my length, so let's just pretend for a moment, and I say, right, it's going to be there. Do I really know how that's going to look versus here? Now I know how it's going to balance, but hairdresser's reality is right in there. I love how my breasts are poking into this picture. Looking like Dolly Parton. I'm not really that big. I promise you. I can have a laugh. Okay, so that is not my reality. If I cut this here, I could be really disappointed because I can't see the big picture. So now what I'm going to do, and sometimes I'll stand the client up because I've got to look at shrinkage, etc., etc. And I'm going to come in here, and Lindsay made a really good point. It's really scary if you just go in and go, chop. What just happened? Because it's so ruthless, right? So the best thing to say to the client is, I'm just going to put in a little focal point here. Now, remember this and write this down. A goal is different from a strategy and a system. So a strategy and a system is what I'm talking to you about right now, how I vote. how I stand the client up, how I start to determine where the shape, what the shape is going to be. There's a system. If I have a goal just to do a pretty hairstyle, I will always fall to the level of my system. Really important. So you have this goal to this creative, beautiful, layered, sexy hairstyle. But if your system is not right, you're going to fall to the level of the system. You do not rise to the level of the goal. System technique is really important, but so is creativity, which can sometimes mean breaking the rules. So I have that length through there. So I've got to say, right, how much is this going to shrink? How much will that shrink? Well, I'm going to come in a little bit more, and this time I'm going to make my decision into the mirror. So now I'm going to come through here, and I'm going to go, right, that's where my length is going to be, because I'm going to be doing a fringe through here and connecting. So now that I've got that, I'm now going to come through and obviously match my sides. So all I'm going to do is come through and get the same piece of hair, bring this through here, bring them together, squeeze them together, and I'm going to do that. So now I'm just going to make sure, so Lindsay's going to do exactly the same. I'm going to make sure that they're good, and I'm going to point into it because obviously mine is going to be the razor, but I need a structure here that's easy to find. So now I measure, and I'm also going to visually measure, which means let the hair fall down and look. I've got a little bit more to do there. Right, so now that I've done that, so now what I'm going to do is go to the back. So at this point, I may have the client standing up. So now I'm going to look at balance. And again, I'm going to be looking at the client from many different angles, because now I'm visualizing if my line is here, how do I want this to fold around and be through here? So my hairstyle is going to be a little bit longer than the photo reference I showed you, just a little bit. So now I'm looking at this going, right, where do I want my balance to be? If I was over directing it to create roundness, that'd be a good idea. So now I look at it here. I'm just going to cut that. Again, it's just a focal point. I'm now going to step back and look at that shape and ask myself, right, does that balance? So I've got focal point here. I've got a focal point in the back. And I'm now going to ask myself, self, does that work? Let's put another clip in here. There's clearly not enough clips in this mannequin head. Do you do that? You get all these sectioning clips in the hair, and then you think, I can't believe I've got 20 sectioning clips in the hair, because you can't figure out where they are. I'm seeing your mind when they're all in the head. Right, so now I'm going to step back and look at that. This needs to come up. It's too long. I don't want it that long. So I'm just going to come up here a little bit more. I'm now going to play with the hair a little bit, see how that moves. Look at my length. And I'm going to do it a little bit more. I want to get this right. I don't want to have to come back in here and do 2 haircuts. So that's going to have a soft curve. I don't want it too dramatically long, but that would be good, because this is a very, very soft haircut. Well, very tremendous amount of softness. So those are focal points. Now, I've been focused on this, not chit-chatting about the weather. Now I can get into, I have a goalpost, and now I'm going to get into the haircut. So before we get into this haircut, once again, I'm just going to show you our reference of where we're going. That's where we're going today. Very wispy on the perimeter. This, I want you to think of a razor giving you wispy edges like a feather. So whether, for example, you've got the structure of something quite, let me just show you here, the structure of something quite solid, there's my cursor going there, it is a more of a solid line versus the valleys and the peaks and the valleys and the peaks. What we have is this beautiful soft effect, and it still has shape. So when I go in with my razor, I'm going to be going in razoring in and out to create these beautiful valleys and peaks. And so the angle of my razor is important. how I go through nice and softly is important. But the critical thing, even though I'm going in and out, is that it has a shape. And the longer I stay in one area, the softer it will become. So I hope that that makes sense for you. Thinking of your hairstyle as with a razor, as a feathered concept, right? So let me just show you this first, then I'm going to bring Lindsay in. So we're going to, let me bring Lindsay in right now because I want you to see us doing this together, and then I can go into a little bit more detail. Let's just bring Lindsay in. There we go. So just come a little closer to the screen, Lindsay, if you can, so that we can get a nice close-up of you. The razor does not like dry hair. The razor likes wet hair, so it can slide. I want you to think of the angle of the razor blade being flat. Just think about if you were to shave a face, you would not dig the razor into the face. You wouldn't dig it into the skin. You'd have it very, very, very flat. So I want you to think, how can I keep that blade very, very, very flat? So we've got a focal point here. I'm allowing for shrinkage. I'm going to now put my length in, which I predetermined when I bowed around the face. So let me just show you this. So Lindsay, what I would love for you to do is with the scissors, because Lindsay's using scissors, I would love for you to come through and just elevate, and whether you flip it around your fingers or not, I'd like for you to just slither into it this way. And my friends, when we're slithering, we're closing the blade and cutting away from us, closing the blade and cutting away from us. So what I would like for Lindsay to do is a slithering technique just through the fringe first, Lindsay, and then we'll both connect our sides together. Because if Lindsay does a structured line through here, she's going to have such a hard time softening it, and it will be really problematic. So there's no point in putting structure in. So I'll just do it down here just to kind of illustrate a point. First of all, when the hair is, let me make sure I'm not going to screw up. When the hair is super long, let's get rid of this first. These are slithering scissors, by the way. They're actually for sliding into the hair. I don't use them very much, but just to show you, you've got to cut off the length first. And then what you're doing is you are sliding away from yourself. Slide, 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 slide to create the illusion of those feathers. So it's a lot more work, but it clearly can be done. I'm going to come in through here this way. Let me make sure you can see. I'm going to come in this way, and I'm going to, first of all, cut a tiny piece here by twisting and slithering down the hair. And I'm just going to look at how much that hair pops and springs in that nice softness. So now I'm going to take another section here. I'm going to twist, and I'm going to start climbing down. So the first section is the shortest. I grab this hair here. I'm going to drop this down. And now with the blade flat, I'm gliding through very, very soft. And now I'm going to look at how that is performing. So I have my short piece. I'm looking at how that's performing. I'm going to take another section through here and do exactly the same. I'm going to twist. I'm going to hold this hair here. I'm climbing down the staircase, and I'm just coming through very, very soft. And again, I'm looking at how that hair is moving, and I'm creating some valleys and some peaks. That's what I'm doing, valleys and some peaks. And then I'm going to repeat that on this side. So I come through on this side, I'm going to twist. I'm going to come through and look at this, which is my center. And I'm going to come to this side, and I'm going to match. I'm going to bring them in together here. So I'm going to look at that and measure that. So now coming through, my blade stays flat, and I glide through very flat, never digging into the hair. So now when I comb that into place, I can see the softness that I'm creating, just very, very wispy and undone. I'm going to take this little piece here, going to take this piece here, match it, release, twist, Make sure it's correct. And now slide through. So I've been a bit technical because I'm trying to match both sides, but now I need to take that time to really play with this and make sure it's beautiful. So here I'm going to over direct the hair forwards, my blade and how I'm holding it. This razor you can purchase on my website, viviennemackinder.com. You can go to our store. And I just want to show you this razor. It has an open blade, but it's serrated like a bread knife almost. There's no guard on this. So you can literally shave the nape with this. It will remove. But what I like about it is it's a very short blade. And for the most part, what I actually do is just use the tip of the blade when I'm working. So welcome back, Lindsay. I'm just going over the razor and then technology, right?
Right.
So let me just explain this and then we'll go into what you're doing. So when I'm holding this blade, I have 3 fingers here that are stability, pinky on the underneath, thumb bent. If my thumb is not bent, I cannot dance up and down with the blade, up and down, up and down. If I have my thumb locked, it's a brace. And then what happens with that brace, there's tension in my wrist. I think you can probably see that. And so if there's tension in my wrist, I will either move from my shoulder or my elbow and I will rip, tear, and hack the hair, which I don't want to do. So you're going to see me now. I'm just going to take this section and I'm going to glide. Oh, come on, darling, don't go down. I'm going to glide through. And I have to put myself in the correct position here. I'm going to over direct the hair forwards. I've got my goalpost and I'm going to come through here with very long, soft strokes right the way down to my line. And so now what I have is this lovely softness through here and I can start to play with the movement in the hair. When I come through on this side, I'm going to over direct the hair forwards. And before I cut that side, I love to do this. Bring my fingers in here and I look at where my fingers were here. So I match the shape of my hand. Now I release that. Now I can come in and cut this, aiming at my focal point. And it's just a wonderful way to get it right first time. So let me just see if I'm on the top. Gliding through. Light and soft, gliding, rhythm. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, down to my focal point.
Okay, so with the fringe, I cut the first side and then I created 2 points so that way it would be easy for me to connect and match it up and make it even. And then I'm just going to go and get rid of the length first. And flip it over my fingers and slide through so that way it's not so solid on the ends. It'll give it a little bit more movement.
So as Lindsay's sliding through there, you can see that she's using her scissors to be like a razor. So now, Lindsay, once you've got that the length that you like, what I'd then like you to do, and I'll mime it with you with scissors, as you over direct this forwards, because you're going in a very steep line, you'll have to come above yourself and glide through this way.
Yes.
And then on this side, you'll over direct it and you will glide through this way. But the difference in what Lindsay's going to get, I was razoring inside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, but Lindsay can only do the facial frame literally around the face on the edge of the hair. So if she wants to go in and do some detailing, she'll have to go back in again and do some slithering. and she'll have to go back in and do a little bit more detail. And if you can come a bit closer to the computer screen, in fact, if you sit on the keyboard, that will be very good.
Sure.
So again, you know, my mantra is cut once, measure twice. That's my mantra with what we're doing through here. Start to play with the hair, make sure that it's moving across nicely. It's a little bit on the abstract side through there. And I have that soft facial frame. So Lindsay's doing that sliding around the face. The next thing that we're both going to do, you can see she's doing a beautiful job there as she's over directing forwards and then just gliding through. Beautiful. There's my focal point. This is going to come over here because I'm going to now connect from here. So just imagine this is my gauge. It's going to go over this way and it's going to go over this way so that I can get it the same. So what I'm going to have Lindsay do is comb the hair around, flip it over her fingers, and I'm going to have her slither into it so that she's got that softness. So there's two things that you need to consider when you're slithering. One is when you're coming through this way and you're flipping, as Lindsay has been so beautifully demonstrating. I'm just going to do it longer here so you can see. In slithering through, moving away from myself as I'm cutting, obviously that sliding through is a wisp and a slide. If I come in this way and I'm doing this, I cut on my outward. I go in and out. And I'm actually closing the blade and moving out like that. So that's going to be chunky where this is going to be soft. But what you actually end up doing is turning the scissors into a sliding tool. Well, if you're going to do that, really, this is much, much easier with the razor. So we're going to grab our section here and bring this over so it's a reference point. So I'm going to come through. I'm going to over direct. So there's my focal point there. I'm going to come through like this, and I'm going to do the L technique. Glide and over, glide down the hair and over. And what's actually happening is I am drawing an L. So I'm coming from my center and I am connecting into my side. I'm going to come down and over. And now I'm going to connect into my side area. Now, if I work super close, I cannot see anything. I am standing over here. I'm standing quite far away so that I can see this and this. And the closer I come, I'm looking at detail, but I'm not looking at the big picture. So what's happening is I'm gliding down and over, down and over. And as I said, this is called the L technique. I'm connecting into my side section. Soft strokes. And everything being very, very abstract, right the way through to my front. So now I've got to play with the hair and see how happy the hair is, because I've created a nice round curve. And the question is it too round? And my gut feeling is it is a little too round. So I'm going to now just make it a little bit squarer in here. I'm just going to come across and do my L technique and connect that through. So are there any questions so far? I've done a twist and a sliding down the hair. I've done a long etching stroke. I'm now coming through and creating this nice soft effect through here that has some roundness. And I'm going to repeat that on this side, which is a little tricky when you're doing the L technique. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to over direct. I've got to look at where my focal point is. My fingers have got to aim to it. So from there, I'm going to actually have to turn around a bit. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to slide down the hair and over, down the hair and over, down the hair and over. And at this point, stop, because I need to make sure that here and here are the same before proceeding with the next part.
In the beginning of my career, I was taught to do 2 haircuts. So you went through and cut the shape, like a nice solid shape, and then you would blow dry it and then go through again. And you might point cut or you might use your thinning scissors, but you were spending all this time detailing at the end so everything didn't look so heavy. And then you came in and you were like, no, let's do the razor. And I've been doing it so long that it really is a lot easier than going through and cutting a shape and then breaking it up. And of course, there are circumstances where you do need to do that, but I just think it's harder to do it this way. It's more work.
Yeah, but that's why you're doing the scissors and I'm doing the razor. So guys, as I finish my shape through here, I'm asking myself, am I ready to layer? Because I have to have the volume in this perimeter that I desire so that then when I can get that very, very, very soft effect through there and have it be piecey and separate. And that's very, very, very important. I feel I need a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is take one more wraparound section. Lindsay, with that second section, you're over directing it forwards and you do the same basic thing, correct?
Yes.
So I'm now doing the L technique through here. My previous section's fallen away. It's very abstract. I'm looking at that softness. I'm now going to over direct this forwards. You know, what's really important about what we're showing you today, watching is beautiful because you've got to watch first, but then you've got to do. And one of the things I love about how I now train, which is so radically different to anything I've ever done in my career, and there are quite a few members here tonight, and I just want to thank you for your support. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for allowing me to be your coach. And it's been an incredible career journey for me where working with everybody, today we did a class, yesterday we had a class, but seeing everyone show up every week is an incredible experience because I get to witness transformation. You see, the habits that we have, that we picked up along the way, may have served a very valuable purpose at some time in our career. But sometimes, because we live in a fashion industry, they become either redundant, obsolete, and we have to remain as fresh as possible because we are in the fashion industry. And in that freshness is where we have to be very flexible for change. I'm over directing forwards here, and I'm going to come in and do my L technique. Notice how I glide and I'm soft. My elbow is down, believe it or not. And I'm just gliding through super soft. Notice my thumb is bending. I'm not hitting the hair. I'm not scraping through the hair. Now as I over direct through here, my over direction. With razor work, you should take small sections because you are following a very shattered perimeter. And it's harder to follow a distorted line, as in soft, than a structured line, as in with the scissors. So connecting through there. And then again, I'm going to do my L technique. So I'm going to come through here, subdivide, step to the side, down and over, inside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, and then through here, the same thing. So now I believe we are both ready to do our internal area. Where is she going to live? So if I cut that there, and I lift this up, and then I look at my perimeter shape, will I be good to go? Yes, because I'm going to round that through. So I'm not going to cut it here. I'm going to say, right, where are you going to live? Let's look at that shrinkage. Let's look at where that's going to go. And I'm going to be big and brave. I'm going to look at that. I'm going to look in the mirror at that lift. And I'm going to say, right, will that work? So that's one focal point. So what I'd like for you to do, Lindsay, is exactly the same. Do that little snip. So what I'm going to do is I've got this piece here. What's going to happen? I've got to over direct pretty dramatically So then I've got to look at this and go, right, when this lands through here, and this is connected into here, so I'm connecting it through there, where is that going to live? So I feel that that's the right length. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at it this way as to where is the lift in here, the depth of the hairstyle. We've created the length, we've created the width. The depth of the hairstyle now is this, the depth. So I've got to see, right, where do I want that to live? And then from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start pie shape sections working around that front. So even though I haven't cut a focal point in the back, I've looked at here, and obviously with experience. So say, for example, I'm saying, where's my guideline? All these choppy things in here. Where is it? Right, there it is. So there's my guideline there. So if I'm going to bring that through, I know that this is going to work. And I'm going to have layers that are going to be living in where I need it to be. Right? Does that make sense? Just let me know if that makes sense. Great. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to come through here, but let me talk to you about the razor. From here, I'm going to be over directing this forwards. There is my guideline right there. So this is how it looks from the side. I have been working with my razor in the perimeter this way, right? That's how I've been working. I'm now going to flip the razor towards my face, and I'm going to now shake the hand. So for the first time, I'm not doing this. I'm keeping my thumb still, flipping and razoring up towards the ceiling. Now, what a lot of people try and do, and it fails every time, instead of flipping it this way towards the face, so just remember, razor to face. What they do is they razor away from face, and then they end up limbo. And they can't, because they're pushing up like this, as opposed to shaking the hand. And what I would say, anything in hairdressing, if it feels uncomfortable, it's usually because it's wrong. So, Lindsay, do you feel that you'd like to scissor cut blunt with what you're doing now, or do you feel like you'd like to slither into the hair? What do you feel you'd like to do?
I like the slithering better on this hair texture.
And explain the why.
It gives it so she's got a little bit of a wave, and slithering gives it a little bit more movement, and then also my layers won't be so chunky.
Yes.
Yeah. A little bit more structure, but I don't want like chunks.
Okay. So Lindsay, talk to our friends about your journey from scissor to razor, and how did you initially feel about the razor?
I didn't want to touch it because it was so uncomfortable. You know, I wanted to stay in my scissor world for the rest of my life. And then once I just started to, like you said, do 10%. So I just started doing people's face framings, and then I got more comfortable with that, and then eventually built up to doing the whole haircut. And then once I finally got the hang of it, I feel like I've got a whole new tool set, right?
Yes, yes. And how do you introduce it to your clients?
I did it today, actually. I had a male that had a longer haircut, and he had the most beautiful wave in his hair. And I told him, I asked him if he'd ever had his hair cut with a razor before, and he said no. And I asked him if he would be open to having his hair cut with the razor. And I told him that I thought that it would put the wave in a little bit more. It would give it more of a wave, and it would sit better for him. Also, he had a lot of hair, so I was like, it'll really help to kind of debulk it.
And what was the outcome?
He loved it. He was so happy with his hair.
Good, good. So Lindsay has worked with me for a while, and she's been through the hair designer program now for the second time, isn't it, Lindsay?
Yes.
Tell everybody about your journey, and tell them about what the hair designer program is. And by the way, guys, we're going to be giving you some really good information towards the end of this program that you can use and take home with you. So go ahead, Lindsay.
Okay, so the hair designer program, you called me in 2021, right after the pandemic happened, right? We had just gone back to the salon, and I lost a lot of clients during that time. And when we started doing the hair designer program, I was like in a sad spot in my career where I wasn't feeling inspired. I wasn't feeling like it was working because I wasn't busy. And so when you called and you asked if I wanted to do it, I was like, yes. And it was a year-long journey where we go over consultation, face shape, where to put the haircut on, like the body type and the whole thing. And I just started getting more and more busy because I was more inspired and I was trying new things. And I think people saw like a whole shift in my confidence. And now I'm like fully booked, like 6 weeks out. I've raised my prices 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
And did you get any pushback when you raised your prices? Because people are always worried about that.
They're happy. It's the weirdest thing. Like we have the signage, right? And it says like, congratulations, Lindsay is raising her prices. And they're like, you're getting promoted. Yay. And they're just happy for me. They don't even like blink an eye.
Wow.
And I haven't lost a single, this last promotion, it just kicked in October. I didn't lose a single client.
Wow. Good for you. What advice do you have for our friends who are feeling like they want to raise their prices and they are scared? Can we address scared first of all?
Scared. You're scared because you're scared because something's missing. If you're working on yourself and you're talking to your guests about the work that you're doing on yourself and you're inspired and they can see that you're being creative behind the chair and really caring for them, then they won't bat an eye when you raise your prices. And you won't be afraid.
So let's invert that.
Okay.
Those who are scared of raising their prices, what do they believe their clients think? Let's, because you just told us the positive, let's flip that and do the inversion of that.
Well, the stylist doesn't think that the client sees the value in what they do.
Whose fault is that?
That is the stylist's fault.
So you mean if we blame the client and say that the client won't buy into it, are we excusing ourselves and saying it's the client's problem versus our own?
Yes.
Whoa. Come to Jesus.
That was huge.
Yeah, I have to agree. I have to agree with you. I have to agree. So, value, price is what you charge. Value is what your client gets. If you do the most beautiful haircut that does not fit who she is, then what is going to happen is that you have done a beautiful haircut on the wrong person. Therefore, is there any value in that? Think about when you buy something and maybe put yourself in debt and you just want it so bad. Technically, you can't afford it, but you justify it because it fulfills a need, right? It fulfills a need. So when we blame the client, or my clients won't like it, that means you gave away all of your power. And what we need to do is reframe the question and say, what do I need to do? I'm cross-checking, my friends. I'm doing a pie and I'm cross-checking. And we have to ask ourselves, what do I need to do to become more valuable? And that is you being here tonight, for example. That's a really powerful part of what we're doing. So I'm super excited. We are working on an app right now. It's getting close to launch time. Towards the end of our class tonight, I'm going to give you all first VIP access to it, well, to sign up, I should say. And we will be giving you that link a little bit later on. And for those of you who are hungry and saying, you know what, I would like to learn more about the hair designer program, just go in there right now and take that barcode, take a picture of that, and that will be your entry into the program that we are talking about tonight. So I'll let you just take that, take a shot of that. Just grab that image and we can move on into our hairstyle. So let's talk about what I just did. Great advice, Lindsay. Love it.
Good.
So I determined the length here by where it lives, not just cutting and letting it fall or going, oh, shouldn't have done that. So I determined the length as to where it lives. I then pie shaped around here. I did the same on the other side. You saw I cross-checked to make sure that I was on course. Now I'm going to do this. I'm going to come right the way through the center back of this hairstyle, which means get rid of the other side. I don't want that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come from my center. I'm going to elevate this up. And I'm going to, there's my focal point there. Oops, so you can see it. There it is. So Lindsay, you're still slithering, right?
Yes.
All right, so I'm coming through here now. I always on my crown like to pull away from I like to pull forwards so I don't cut my crown too short. I'm going to go up towards the ceiling. Watch how that falls. I'm now going to connect right the way through to my back. And notice my palm now is facing to the ceiling, and I'm now going to connect through all the way down through here. So Lindsay, you are, one of the head coaches. You've got your young talent who's just graduated from cosmetology school, and you're now training them, and you are taking them through kind of a condensed version of the hair designer program. In fact, we're calling it the 12-week challenge. The 12-week challenge. The 12-week challenge is 12 of the most popular haircuts that are classic and trending. And in 12 weeks, we go through those 12 haircuts. The program launches January 7th, which we're super excited about. And you'll be able to, every week, meet me. Every week, I get to tell you ridiculous jokes that are not even funny. No. We have a laugh. We do have a laugh. I mean, really.
They are funny.
But we have a laugh. We definitely do. But anyway, the 12-week challenge, for those of you who say, Viv, I want to get my skills up. I want to learn some new haircuts. I'd like to learn the razor. It's a toe in the water for you to learn how to do some of the work that we're doing and for me to help you, be able to help you one-to-one help you. Obviously, think about this. If you go to the gym for 12 weeks, you're going to have a 12-week result. If you train with me for a year, you've got a year's result. So our next hair designer program, and we've opened up now for registration, is going to be the 6th of January. So one is on a Monday and one is on a Tuesday. So if you want to put your toe in the water and just say, you know what, let me just try. I've never done this virtual stuff before. Join us for the 12-week challenge. You'll have a great time. One of the things that I love about the way that we're training now is you watch the video, we redo the video you watched. So it's not like watching a Pinterest or a reel where you watch it and then think, what the hell was that? And you can't recreate it. No. We are recreating the look. And then I give you feedback on your work. Because before every class, I'm looking at your work, and I can then, when I see you, I can give you comments, I can give you feedback. And I know we've got some members in the house that are can testify to the success of what they've had. So that's really important. So you can see here, not only am I cutting, I'm playing with the hair and I'm looking at how this is performing. This is going to be a wash and wear haircut. So I now have this piece here, which I just think I'll leave. I'm just kidding. So I am still pieing it and I'm pivoting around from my center back and I am connecting behind the ear. So I'm going to talk to you about the ultimate way of measuring. So I am walking around and I am, you could call it a traveling guideline. I've got all of this softness here. Now, obviously, Lindsay's haircut's going to definitely be more chunky. Mine is going to be much more airy. And I don't need to go in with thinning scissors. I don't need to cut a shape and then detail or texturize the shape. I am, as we would say in the UK, I will be done and dusted. You don't say that expression here, do you?
No, we don't.
Yeah. I'm even amazed that my husband now says that he's not from the UK. And I don't think he even knows what dusting is.
What did I say? I said something the other day and my client laughed at me, but it came directly out of your mouth.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it did. I don't remember what it was. I'll have to, if I remember, I'll tell you, but it was really funny.
Wow. So guys, I'm in danger zone. I'm coming through here. I'm making sure that this is left out. I am coming through and I'm cross-checking through here from my back into my side, observing what I'm leaving out because I was cautious and I'm just making sure this connects all the way through. So now when I take a skinny section here and I bring this out this way, before I cut that, I'm going to actually put down my tools. I'm going to grab the hair from this side, pull this out, look at my line here and here, and then do this. Now I know where this line should be cut. And I promise you, that saves you a lot of time. This is where you can book a call. We have a couple of my team members on this event tonight. You can book a session with them to do a discovery, where you are right now, where you want to go, and to make sure that if you're going to be training with me, we marry you to the right product, because we don't want you married to a product that's not going to serve you. I'm very results driven. And I've discovered that the fusion between the digital world, which we're in right now, and the live, which we're in right now, if I could watch you work right now, wow, how fantastic would that be? And wouldn't you like to be directed and guided? You know, guys, I would not be the hairdresser I am today if it wasn't for all the incredible hairdressers I have worked with throughout my career. And I still to this day looked and I asked myself, where are my peers? Who is the next group of people I need to learn from to take myself to that next level? And that's what's very important. Another option you have tonight is be a guest. So if you are enjoying this experience tonight and you want to follow along, you can apply to one of these passes and come in and be a guest in one of our live workshops and see the Phyllises, Phyllis isn't in the class anymore, but the Phyllises of this world, the Lindsays of this world working, and you can actually see them in action. I'm super excited about this. Beauty by Design is my app that's going to be launched quite soon. If you would like to join our waitlist, this is where you can sign up. And when it is launched, you will be the first ones to get access to it. And there will be some huge privileges for those of you who get access to this first. And it is an amazing way of transforming your consultation because the app does all the heavy lifting and working for you. It is extraordinary what it does. And the goal is to up your game, increase your business, have more fun, and have a friend, which is this app, doing the hard work for you. So if you want to be the first one to access Beauty by Design, scan the QR code and you will get notified when we go live with our beta testing, and you will be our first ones. And it really is going to be a revolution for our industry. It really, really is. So I've given you a lot of good candy tonight, right? Some good stuff to think about tonight. Thinking about the razor, seeing the difference between what Lindsay's been doing with her scissors and what I did with my little girl. How I mapped and planned and designed by voguing, how I put my focal points in to have no surprises at the end of this hairstyle, how I worked lightly and softly with the razor. So if you're saying, you know what, Viv, I look at all this long hair and I can't see anything different. I see that client with long hair and I don't know what else to do with her. I understand it. We've almost got brainwashed into seeing so much long hair. Some is beautiful. If any of you have been to my boot camps on long hair styling, you'll know I love long hair on the right person. Not for everybody, but on the right person. Oh, yeah. But how do you, when you see that person with that long hair, they're saying, I don't want my hair cut short. How do you start educating them? How do you start moving them through that process to give them a transformation? And is it just a facial frame? What is that going to be to build your business and your brand? So I've given you tonight the option to look at the Hair Designer Program, which is our mastery program starting in January. I've given you tonight the option to go quicker through the 12-week challenge. I'm giving you also a preview into signing up first to our app so that you can see some of the incredible things that it does do. And it's pretty extraordinary. So some very exciting things. What she's doing in her blow dry, and what is the important thing about what she's going through right now. So mine is just going to dry the way she is right now. And as I said before, if I go into this now with my tools when it's drying, I will disrupt this lovely texture that's starting to happen. And I don't need to do that. So our mission is to measure twice, cut once, have some really good strategy. I've got lovely, lovely softness going all the way through here. And, ooh, if she could stand up, it would be great. And I haven't cut a square back, but this is very graceful. It is a round back that is soft. It's not thin, but it certainly is wispy with all of its separation. And all I put into this hair is some oil. That's all I put into it, so that she can air dry. Do you like the shape? Just let me know in the chat whether you like it or not. I'd like for you to share this with as many of your friends as you can. And for those of you who are in school, share it with all of your friends there. We have somebody right now going through the Hair Designer Program, and she's doing an apprenticeship program. And she's going through the Hair Designer Program, and it is mind-blowing what this young lady is doing with her hair cutting. And it's just so incredibly exciting. My oldest person that's been through the Hair Designer Program was in his 70s. And I said, what was the reason for signing up? And he said that he needed to reinvent himself, that his clients were passing away and he didn't want to stop doing hair. So there's someone who wants to reinvent themselves. Meanwhile, someone young that has no bad habits yet, teaching the right way to see shape, balance, and proportion. Now, I promise you, when you do a quality haircut that fits the body type, that fits the face shape, you know your why before your how, you will be like Lindsay. It'll be easy to pop up your prices and it'll be pretty amazing. There was something I was going to ask you, Lindsay, and I've forgotten what it was. Would you have any ability to read my mind?
You were going to ask me what I was doing with my blow dry.
Oh, yes.
I see, I am a mind reader. Okay, so I was first blow drying the roots down because I don't want her to be big. And then I wanted to round out the ends and kind of bring it in a little bit. I thought it was really cool when I started doing it. She's instantly started looking more classic than boho. So I was just kind of trying to change the style.
Because they all have their values along the way. So I hope this has been really helpful. Lindsay's style is looking gorgeous, really gorgeous. Do you want to give her a little spin? Let's come in closer here so you can see the difference between our girls and our lovely textures. I hope that's reading well for you guys. So just sort of turn her to camera as well. Much is a great hairstyle, but so much more structured. So much more structured, a little bit heavier, shiny and polished, and yet they both are the same girl. So it's such a different sensibility all the way through. What would you learn tonight, Lindsay? If you want to unmute.
It was just, I thought it was really cool when I went from, I had her all scrunched up and it looked like one style. And then I started blow drying her straight and it instantly looked completely different. So you can change somebody's entire look by just changing the blow dry.
Beautiful.
Even with the same haircut.
Yes, yes. So never negate, guys, the finish of what you do, because that finish can take the client towards, you see, we a hot trend today, manifestation, visualization, put it out there. But as much as you can manifest and project your brand and image, you can also repel in your energy, repel opportunities because you're closed. You know, optimistic people are open to opportunities. Oh, I want to have it like Lindsay's hairstyle today. Oh, I think I'll do it like this one today. So, you know, the genius is we have these amazing quizzes. And if any of you guys want some of these quizzes, you know, you can certainly let us know. But to know where you are in your style as a hairdresser, I was very technical in the beginning. So my work was rigid, tight, and very, very tight. And I worked very closely to the hair. Then I started to understand I need to understand big picture and detail. So then I allowed the artistry that was within me, which is within all of you, to open. But if the technical voice is so loud and the artistic voice is whispering, saying, let me in, I want to like just open it up a bit more. And the technical person's so strong, that voice is so loud, it doesn't allow the artist to even come in. And sometimes all it is stepping back from your work. Sometimes all it is the 10-second rule, 10 seconds to walk around and look at the shape and look at the balance of how you're going through and how you're creating that incredible softness that you can see through there. Incredibly soft. So let's just flip around our backs before we say goodbye to everybody. And you can see here, again, what a difference with the razor and the weight that I removed. I didn't have to go crazy in any detailing because I cut what I wanted to see. Now, if I was left to myself, I would have done this haircut in 20 minutes, but stopping, explaining, making sure I'm out of the way of the camera and so on, clearly I took a little longer tonight. So I just want to say a huge thank you to Lindsay. Lindsay, you'll have to take some photographs and send them in so we can share with everybody.
Oh,
Lindsay's
sure.
queen of taking pictures, right? And Lindsay, is there anything you'd like to say to our friends tonight? Anything that you'd like to inspire and encourage them to do?
Yeah, I think if you're feeling like stuck where you're at in your career, don't wait. You don't have to sit in it. Like, you have a great opportunity to have a really good coach here that will help push you along and grow you faster than you'll be able to do it on your own.
Yes,
I've had an amazing journey with you I've been lucky and I've had you for a good amount of my career, but it's been amazing. So thank you.
So, and this is interesting. You've been with me for a while, but you've never been with me in a way like through the designer program where it was every week. I would come into your salon and do a 2-day training and then I'll be gone for a year. Yeah. Come in and do a little training and then gone for a while. And yes, you used to have the digital product only, but it's been accelerated through this process, hasn't it, really?
Yes, well, you're getting feedback multiple times. So you're getting feedback while you're doing the haircut, and then you're getting feedback after you've styled it and photographed it. So it's multiple times that you're learning.
Yes, absolutely. So guys, I encourage you to take action tonight. Do something tonight. Either recreate this hairstyle, and for those of you who are members of my website, then you can send in the photographs so we can see what you're doing. You can post them and we can, as I say, give you that feedback. But for those of you who are on the fence, there's a cost to being on the fence. That means no action. And what we need in our career is progress. And we all have areas of strength and we all have areas of weakness. So we have to identify where the weakness is and close that gap and get you there quicker and have a whole lot of fun doing so. And don't let the excuse of time or money ever get in the way. It may be a reason, but within that reason, be resourceful, and we will help you with that to get to where you want to go, because time is your only thing that is non-negotiable. And there are things I'm doing in my career now that had I known they existed years ago, I wish I could go back and grab them. Some of my mentors and my peers that I wasn't as fully aware of as I am now, because I have intention now to seek out brilliant minds so I can learn and grow with the ultimate goal. The more I have in me, the more I have to give. And this part of my career is about service. So my app is to serve you, to help you and your clients have an extraordinary experience. My desire right now is to do extraordinary hair. My desire right now is to train hairdressers to be extraordinary. Good is no longer good enough. We're in a highly competitive market. So outstanding is where you need to live. And I emphasize the only way to get there is show up and just play 100%, and you'll be amazed at the result. Lindsay, thank you so much for tonight. I appreciate you. You're awesome. I love you dearly. You're my little star, my star. I love you.
I love you too. This is so fun. Thank you.
Yeah. And to my members who are here, I just say thank you. I send you lots of love. And for those of you who are considering, don't consider, just do it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much and good night.